Hi you guys, how are you all? I hope you're doing well. We are in a bit of a rush today because thankfully you guys chose a get ready with me like a wedding guest tutorial over on Instagram. I gave you guys a couple of options and I have a wedding to go to today, and so I am actually legitimately getting ready for a wedding and showing you guys kind of like my fast wedding guest makeup. I just popped out of the shower, so my hair is still wet. I guess like wedding guest prep, or even if like this is probably a good tutorial, even if like you're the one getting married, it often starts way before actually putting makeup on your face. So I kind of had like a routine this morning. I needed to shave my legs, so my routine took a little bit longer than I anticipated, which is why we're going to be moving through this pretty quickly. But I like to like look my best, especially this is a family wedding, so like there's going to be a lot of pictures, so you want to make sure that like the look that you're wearing you're going to be happy with in X many years when it's their 50th anniversary and they pull up the photos of the whole family. Obviously, the wedding's not really about you, but that doesn't mean that you don't want to look your best. So I showered this morning, always wash my hair, and then while I'm doing my makeup, I let it air dry as much as possible. I try not to do too much heat on my hair just because I know how damaging it can be, and letting it air dry while you do your makeup is just like a great way to keep things moving. Like I said, I shave my legs, but even before that, I actually do a really thorough dry brushing, which helps to make your skin sort of look the best that it can. I do exfoliating in the shower with like a scrub on any of the skin that will be showing in my dress. So for example, I'm wearing a bathrobe right now, but my chest is going to be showing in the dress and so are my legs. So I just kind of like scrub that area just to make sure it's nice, fresh skin. And then I always really thoroughly moisturize after a treatment like that. In fact, trying to be better about moisturizing after every shower because I tend to have really dry skin, but especially if I've been exfoliating and there's kind of like new skin, I like to treat it really well and make sure I have a lot of lotion on it. So that was sort of the prep steps. The only other prep step that I'm about to do right now is put a little bit of lip balm on. I had like the world's most delicious dinner last night, but I would say the sodium content was extremely high. So wouldn't recommend if you have a special event to go to the next day to eat what I ate, because sodium definitely makes your body hold on to water. You can be a little bit puffy the next morning. Thank you, under eyes. And it makes my lips so chapped. So I'm just going to kind of like massage that in and really let it soak in during this whole tutorial. Oh, and I also exfoliated my face. Wow, I did a lot of exfoliating this morning. I used a manual exfoliator with like beads in it on my skin, on my face, just to get off any like dry bits or like kind of like first like crusty-ish layer of skin. And I put on an oil. Okay, I think I've caught you all up. I have a cup of tea. I'm ready to get this started, and we gotta move because we gotta go soon. I also am not someone who really styles my hair that much. Like if I was gonna style it, I'd probably just put waves in it, but I'm pretty sure I'm gonna wear it in a bun. So I'm not gonna worry too much about my hair. Just gonna let it dry. Okay, a lot of these will be familiar if you guys watched my last video, my 2019 favorites. I talked a lot about like event makeup in that one, and this is definitely kind of like my go-to event prep stage. I use this Ilia True Skin Radiant Priming Serum. I take a couple of drops of that and then I just kind of tap it onto my skin. If you guys want to hear more about it, definitely go check out last week's video. But it's just going to add a little bit of radiance and it's going to make my foundation last longer, which when you have an event to go to is definitely what you want. I'm not going to go too crazy with the eyes, so I'm going to start with my foundation. Again, using an Ilia product, these two pair really well together, and this is just kind of like my go-to event foundation routine. Using my fingers, I'm just going to kind of tap this into place. And I'm really just concentrating it mainly on the areas that I need the coverage. I think natural skin always looks better. It looks better in photographs. It looks better when you're like hugging people and people are close up. So I try and work in really thin layers and do the least amount of product that I possibly can and make sure it's really like blended and patted into my skin. I also feel like it's really important to be cautious with how much product you use, because especially at like a wedding or like a family event, you're hugging so many people and people are wearing like suits or nice shirts or a nice dress, and so you don't want to get any makeup on anyone. And so when you have a lot of makeup on, there's obviously a higher chance that it'll transfer when you hug someone or anything. So I'm just also making sure to take it all the way back to my ears. This isn't a usual step that I do, but for special occasions, you want to make sure that everything's blended super, super well. And this is sort of just like a base layer that I'm working on right now, because I'll go in with concealer after everything's sort of settled. After I do eye makeup, I'll go back in and see if I need more coverage before finishing up my complexion. I definitely think that, like, you know, it's really fun to be a wedding guest. In my opinion, you can play around with your makeup a little bit more because it's not really your wedding. I always feel like it is good advice to think about, like, will I like this makeup, you know, X amount of years from now if you're someone who's gonna have photos. But that could also mean it's a neon green eyeliner. Like, different people have different versions of what's like classic or what they feel like they'll love to look back on. So I just think that, like, your makeup should be a representation of you. And if you guys have seen any of my tutorials, I really like natural makeup, so this is going to be a representation of that with like a little bit of glamour. Okay, great. So you can still see kind of like my skin, a few dark areas with that layer of foundation on, but we have like a base layer, which is nice. So I'm gonna leave that for now. I'm gonna curl my eyelashes really quick, which I'm gonna get really close to the mirror, so I might go out of focus. Okay, moving along to eyebrows, no surprise. I'm gonna be using Hourglass and just doing my normal eyebrows, which, wow, my eyebrow hairs are very long and they need to be trimmed. Ay, 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 ay. But we do not have time for that today. Oh, another important step that I forgot to mention is I always put on my deodorant when I'm not wearing my outfit and when I have time to let it really sink in, because I don't want any white stains on my dress or whatever I'm wearing. So I put it on while I'm doing my makeup, and that way it gives like my body at least like 20 minutes or so, maybe a little bit more, to soak it in, to start working, so that by the time I put on my dress, I don't really have anything left on my skin. I just have it like absorbed into my skin. Just putting on some brow gel. Being careful not to apply too much because this has started to get a little bit white. Okay, I might need to trim this eyebrow. It is out of control. Okay, eyebrows are done, so moving on to the eyes. We already curled the eyelashes, so I'm going to be going in with this palette in Be Stunning. It's just such a great neutral palette. It lasts really well. It doesn't crease on me. I'm going to go in with the sort of like initial warm brown tone color and put that all over my lid, but start laying it down at the outer corner so that by the time I get it to the inner corner, it's like a little bit diffused. This is a great shade if you have puffy eyes to get rid of that puffiness. I don't know, did you guys used to watch America's Next Top Model? One of my like most memorable moments at that show was Tyra Banks telling one of the models that if you have puffy eyes, you just take a little bit of a light brown, cool toned eyeshadow and you put it onto your lid and it's like automatic shadow. Okay, before I do some more definition in the crease, I'm going to take the same brush and then go into this champagne color and start it at the inner corner and just build that up until it's a really pretty light sheen. I actually have a pretty long drive to get to this wedding, so I'm really hoping that this makeup will hold up, but I think I'm going to put together like a little touch-up kit in my purse, so by the time we get there I can touch it up a little. Okay, now going into the deeper brown tone, just starting at the outer corner. I'm going to wear liner today, so it doesn't need to be too strong, but I'm just going to press it into the outer corner and then slowly in circular motions drag it up just to the halfway point in my eye. And now I'm just going to take a tiny little bit of that dark color. I'm going to just kind of tap it into my lash line. Okay, the battery pack died, so I had to change it, but I haven't started my liner yet. The number one trick for good liner is a sharp pencil if you're using a pencil, or a really thin applicator, because you can be really precise with it. I'm just gonna start at like the halfway point on my eye and really build it up in my lash line. I'm just making sure to get into all those little lash spaces. Then when you get to the outer corner, come from the bottom of your lash line up. That'll give you the most natural wing. And I'm gonna leave it like this and then we're gonna smoke it out. So I'm just gonna let it set for a second. It's a little bit harder to use. I'm gonna do the other eye and then I'm gonna grab a brush and we're gonna smoke it. Okay, I have the brush that I wanna use and I'm gonna go into that dark color. And this is when you can start to smoke out the lash line with the powder. Going over where I have the wing, and then I'm just rubbing back and forth to soften it. And whatever residue's left on the brush, I just take underneath my eye, making sure to connect it to that wing. Okay, we can do touch-ups later, but time for a little bit of mascara. When I say a little bit, I mean a lot of it. Okay, now a little bit of highlighting concealer underneath my eye. And by highlighting, I just mean a shade that's a little bit lighter than you would use in other areas. Now going into conceal blemishes. So I'm just taking a concealer in my actual skin tone and I'm just gonna dot it and leave it because I want it to have a lot of staying power. So I'm gonna let it kind of like dry a little bit, I guess I would say, and then I'll go back in and blend it out. I let that dry for like 2 minutes. Off camera obviously, and then I'm just tapping it in with like the pads of my fingers and trying to, as much as possible, go around the actual spot that I'm concealing and not on top of it. So I'm more so blending the concealer into my base. Okay, I'm going to be using Favorite Blush, Kira Weiss in Reverence. I'm going to be taking it pretty high on the apples of my cheeks and blending it back. And then of course across my nose. Next I'm going to be taking a bronzer in like a cool contour shade for me. It's Malibu by Han. And I'm just going to start kind of carving out my face with it, but really softly. I'm using a big brush so that it's really soft and it's not going to look like harsh. There's not going to be any harsh lines, especially when you have a lot of pictures going on. You have pictures from a lot of different angles, a lot of candid photos. Unless you really need it, I would avoid any harsh contouring. I'm going to take a little on either side of my nose, a little on my chin. Then over top of that, I'm going to use an actual bronzer, and this is going to go more so on my cheeks, just layered over the blush and on the bridge of my nose. Now sort of using the back of my hand to brush off most of the excess bronzer. I'm gonna tap into a powder that I have that I actually broke, which was great. This is Well People, and I'm gonna pack it on areas that I don't want to be shiny. Now as a final complexion step, I'm gonna be taking this trusty highlighter. This is Halo Illuminator in Moonlight, and I'm just gonna be sticking that on the high points of my cheekbone, really blending that in, and on my brow bone. So for lips, I am gonna use a lip liner, but over the top of it, I'm gonna be using a moisturizing product because of my chapped lips from my food last night. So I'm just going to softly line kind of like the predominant parts of my lips. So like my cupid's bow and a little bit underneath. On that. 2 options, both super comfortable. A nude look. I think I would go for the Fit Glow Serum in Nudie, but I think I'm going to do a berry tone. This one is really easy. It gives a lot of pigment. I talked about this in last week's video. Actually, I talked about both of them. And then just kind of tap it in with my fingers to get rid of some of the shine. This is also great too because if you bring it to the event, you can use it as a blush. I'm going to go grab a hair tie and do that and stick on my dress, and then I'll show you guys. The only other thing that I'm going to do is, because like my neck area is going to be showing, I'm going to put on a little bit of skin food, and that way I just have like a nice shine to my skin and it just looks really healthy. But yeah, that is my wedding guest makeup look done. So let me show you guys my outfit. So easiest way to do this is filming on my phone. So I'm just going to show you guys, this is the dress. I can't quite zip it on my own, so I need Jared to do the back of it for me, but it's pretty much, it just looks like this. The shoulders are just a little bit tighter. It has really pretty California poppies on it, and then I'm not sure about shoes. I'm either going to wear these or I'm going to wear boots. So we'll see how I feel, how cold it is. But yeah, this is my final look. Okay guys, that's it for me. So I hope you enjoyed this. I need to go get zipped up and I need to put on some shoes and then we are heading out. I hope this gave you some inspiration if you have a wedding coming up that you're a guest for, or if you are the bride and doing your makeup yourself, then this is just an easy, fast go-to look. And yeah, so thanks so much for watching guys, and I will see you next time. Bye!